Okay. I hope you had seen, and I hope members of the council had seen the agenda and the budget and the resolution out today.
Yes.
If you haven't, okay. So I am actually on another candidate forum, so I will need you to assist in the facilitation. I'm gonna make you host, and I'm not sure. I'm on my phone, so if you can just click record if it's recording now or not. And I'm gonna switch over to you to have host. And I made members of the council right now co-host already. So whoever comes in later, please make them co-host if they wish. And I know that there was 2 other resolutions up there. If I can come back on time, I will try to come back. I know Councilmember Angel and Councilmember Husbands, I've kind of briefed them in the resolution. So I hope you can just take it away. And just good evening, all members of the council. I apologize. Things are happening so quickly with these candidate forms, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So 1 second. 1, 2. All right. Yes, Councilmember Spencer.
Good evening, Co-President Green. Apologies for not having my camera on, but I just saw a text from Secretary Montavon. I'm not sure if she's on it or not.
I haven't seen her. I haven't seen her yet.
Yeah, I'm about to share the link with her so she can jump on.
All right. Thank you so. Oh yes. Okay. You just did because she's on.
Okay, there she is.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me know that, Councilmember Spencer. Okay, so now we definitely are rock and rolling. Okay. One second. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the calendar meeting for the Citywide Council for District 75 for Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. We shall first have our call to, I'm officially calling this meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. And we're going to have our roll call of council members. Can you do a roll call, please, Ms. Montalban?
Yes, I'm doing the roll call now. Ms. Christy Angel.
Present.
Ms. Constance Asiadu.
Here.
Ms. Celia Green.
Good evening, present.
Ms. Aisha Husbands.
In my community,
Present.
Ms. Patricia Jewett.
Present.
Ms. Joanne Jones.
I'm not seeing her on screen, so come back to her.
Ms. Christy Montavon, present. Mr. Angel Morales. Mr. Craig Spencer.
Present.
And Ms. Amy Ming Tsai.
She's here. She's on two things at the same time. She's here though.
Okay, if anyone comes in after roll call, please just let me know the time. And we have 1, 2, 3. We have 7 members present, so we have quorum.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Montalban. Okay. Next, we are going to need a timekeeper. So would anyone of the council members wish to do timekeeping for this evening? Not all put your hands up at once. Would anyone like this? Would any of the council members, CCD75 council members, wish to do the timekeeping this evening? All right, I will try to keep an eye on the time. That being said, moving right along. And before we get to the adoption of the agendas, I would like to allow the Spanish interpreters to ask if anyone needs interpretation and to give out the number for interpretation for this.
¿Hay alguien, hay alguien que necesita interpretación en español? Does anyone need interpretation in Spanish?
I already put the link on the information on the chat
Okay.
in Spanish.
El número es 347-966-4114 con la clave 336-649-657 hashtag. Thank you. And it doesn't seem like anyone answered.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Okay, next, we're gonna motion to adopt the agenda.
I'm sorry, you also have Mandarin interpreters here too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Mandarin interpreters, we would like you to do the same thing. Please ask if everyone needs if anyone needs interpretation, and please give the please also give the number for this.
请问有没有人是需要国语翻译的？如果需要的话，请拨打347-966-4114，并输入 ID 号983-963-150井号。Yes, Mandarin announcement has been made. You may now proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, now we're moving on to a motion to adopt the agenda. And I'm going to request that in the motion, there are 2 things that we need to add. One, there was a request from Ms. Gloria Corsino, who is working with the election teams for a FACE. And she asked if she could possibly be on the top of our agenda because she has a couple of other meetings she also needs to attend today. So if that could be added to the motion, as well as one of our other former members, Mr. Shamel Lawrence, asked if he could address us. So if a motion to adopt by one of the members can be made by one of the CCD75 council members to adopt the agenda with those 2 changes, it would be greatly appreciated.
Motion to adopt with those 2 additions to the agenda.
Thank you. It was motioned by.
second.
Thank you. It was motioned by Councilmember Patricia Jewett. It was seconded by Councilmember Christine Angel. All right, so from there, we're going to go to a roll call. We're going to go to a roll call vote. Ms. Montalban, can you do a roll call vote on that? Is that before that, is there any discussion? Does anyone want to change anything else, add to the amendment, take away from the amendment? Now is the time to speak. My apologies, Ms. Montalban. Mr. Spencer, please go ahead.
Thank you, Co-President Green. Yes, sorry, I wasn't able to, I wanted to see if we can still add one thing. So I couldn't do it in time. There was, since there's a part of the agenda on a particular subject for Sunset Park High School, I was wondering if, since that part of that agenda item is going to be interactive with District 75 management, I was hoping that we can add a couple of minutes in reference to the safety committee hearing that we had last week regarding, especially in light of certain unfortunate incidents. We would want to, I would want to add to the agenda for a couple minutes in terms of the safety personnel within the district and if they could speak to safety issues for our children. So I want to add that small aspect, agenda item to the tonight's agenda, which follows up the safety committee meeting that was hosted wonderfully by Ms. Husbands.
Okay, can we ask for the original motion to be amended, or if Councilmember Jewett wouldn't mind amending, and we can also ask Councilmember Angel if she doesn't mind seconding. So Councilmember Jewett.
Quick question.
Mhm.
I see that I could be missing something, and forgive me if I am. I see that Sunset Park is already on the agenda. Could we not add it there, or is he asking to add something additional from what's already on the agenda?
That's fine by me. Thank you, Treasurer Angel. That's fine by me. Yeah, if it could be added to that aspect, because we just want to make sure it's commented on at a calendar meeting. So I wouldn't mind just adding it to what's going to be talked about. Make it a double, agenda item on two topics, on those two topics: Sunset Park and safety.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, Councilmember Spector. So, Ms. Jewett,
I'm okay with the changes. That's not a problem.
I still second.
Motion to accept as, yeah.
thank you, Councilmember Jewett. Thank you, Councilmember Angel. Does anyone else have any discussion on this topic before we go to the vote? Any other council member? Okay. All right, Ms. Montalban, please do a roll call vote.
Okay, we are voting to adopt the agenda with the 3 changes. Ms. Christy Angel,
Yes.
Ms. Constance Asidu,
Yes.
Ms. Celia Green,
Yes.
Ms. Aisha Husbands,
Yes.
Ms. Joanne Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Christy Montalban, yes. Mr. Angel Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Craig Spencer,
Yes.
and Ms. Amy Ming Tsai.
Did you forget me about the Sunset Park? So I mentioned and didn't know it?
Is Amy able to vote?
Let me check the chat. She may have put it in a chat or something. Okay, I don't see her in the chat right now. It's possible she's on the other meeting. Okay, so,
Am I allowed to vote?
my apologies. Miss Jewett, how do you vote?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss?
I vote in favor. That's what I was trying to say. Kind of skipped over the letter J. It's all right.
So
I'm
sorry.
not gonna cry. It's
I
all
was
right.
double checking that Miss Jones came in and I got sidetracked. So I was trying to.
It's okay.
in the
We're
chat.
all human.
Apologize. Okay, so I
Don't
have,
worry. Don't worry. I'm still gonna buy raffle tickets.
all right, we have 9 votes for yes, so the motion has passed.
Thank you. Okay. So first up on the agenda, as requested, Miss Gloria Corsino, who is currently working with the election team at FACE, the Division for Family and Community Engagement, Empowerment, one of those names, is here to speak on the status of the D75 CEC forums. So please take it away, Miss Gloria Corsino.
Well, hello, everyone. Superintendent Louis Sasha Inglis, great to see you guys, the D75 Council. I just wanted to come on here and just share with you guys that we are still holding forums for both the CEC seats in community education councils and for the CCD75. So Mr. Spencer did ask me to come on here and just remind everyone for those dates so you guys can attend the forums, and please make sure that you encourage parents to attend because voting is essential. So this will be the perfect time for you guys to showcase your candidacies. So our next forum is tomorrow. So we're going to be holding the Brooklyn North Candidates Forum. That's going to promptly start at 6. Candidates should show up at 5:30 because we do a mic check and a video check. We are then after that holding, I apologize, I have them all together. The Citywide Council for District 75 Candidates Forum, which is March 22nd, same time, same forum. We're going to be holding the District 75 Queens Candidates Forum. That's going to be on the 23rd, which is the next day. And then we will be hosting Staten Island on the 29th of March. So it is important that you share this with candidates, or actually the candidates attend, that share this with voters. We are still sending out all of this. I harass Ray Velez every day to make sure that those flyers are going out. I'm excited to see all the candidates again and to see the current members who may be returning or applying again. So I'm excited to see this journey. I'm going to forever be a D75 mom. So once you're a D75 parent, you're always a D75 parent. And I look forward to seeing what all of you are going to be showcasing. So thank you for allowing me to take a little bit of your space of your time to share this with you. And I look forward to, if you guys have any questions, please unmute yourself.
Well, Miss Angel, go ahead. You had your hand up.
Thank you. Hey, Gloria.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good, good.
I wanted to check in with you because I know that a couple of the members and myself had requested information in regarding to parents who might have been disenfranchised in regard to showing up on the list of people running or having their message being presented or not even showing up at all. Are we working on that now, seeing that the forums are still going on?
Absolutely.
Now? Are they going to be able to participate, or what does that look like?
You know what? We don't turn anyone away. If someone shows up, even if they're not on the list, I'm going to let them speak. You know what? This platform is open to all these 75 parents. I apologize. There's always glitches that happen. But I want to make sure that if someone shows up, even if they're not on my list, you know what? Let them speak. You know, we're parents and they're advocates, and we want to make sure that they are there to showcase what they'd like to do in representation of families. So please, I don't turn anyone away.
Would they still be able to be voted for?
You know what, let's do this. Do you know of the candidates who I know you reached out about someone in D18. We did receive a paper ballot, so that is in effect. So we are okay.
Right. So that's what our question was. How many paper ballots were received? You know, if that was like leveled out, vetted out. And, you know, I know ECC had spoke about a few parents, and I know that you said that you needed to kind of kick it up a little higher to see who's over
absolutely
that aspect to make sure we can get a full list. I just want to make sure for the parents who
came
in and wanted to run that they
I will definitely make sure that the election team actually gives me an actual number of paper ballots that we have completely received, and I will certainly send that number to you on at your request. Fair enough?
Yes, fair enough, and we can speak later. Thank you so much.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, bye-bye.
No worries. Anyone else? I'm here. Ask.
Go ahead, Mr. Spencer.
Thank you, Co-President Green. Thank you, Treasurer Angel, for putting that up. Hi, Gloria. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Good to see you, Greg.
Busy. Good to see you too. So are there any plans? It just seems like the voting will start maybe that week after spring break.
Yeah.
Are there any follow? Because one of the challenges that I have with I want to hold some committee meetings, but I want to just get on the same page with you guys. I don't want to do double. There's no sense to do double the work, and I don't want to confuse our constituents.
Yeah.
So before voting starts on the 27th, is there anything you guys have
It's
planned?
actually, voting starts on the 21st. Because the
21st, right?
last forum is on the 20th and voting starts immediately right after.
Right. So
Okay.
are you guys holding anything? I guess we could talk offline, or are you holding anything over? I think it's important here now to state if anything will be held over the break,
So, you know,
spring break.
If you give me 1 second, I can check the schedule real quick. If you give me a quick break, hold on. And remind me, because I'm not in school anymore. The boys aren't in school anymore. When spring break actually does start.
Give me a second. I can pull it up on the calendar here.
April
6th.
4th.
April 6th.
April 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
We actually will be giving you guys a break during the break. So that families can actually go away. We will restart on April 17th. So there are still forums going to be held after. I think there's about 4 more days of sessions right up until April 20th.
Okay.
Okay, so
All right.
we definitely wanted, you know, we did do info sessions during the midwinter recess, but it was different. We actually do, I think the DOE wants to respect that, you know, it is for some a religious time. And the parents do actually plan, you know, trips and stuff around their children's schedule. So I think that was the decision to at least allow families to spend time with them. Trust me, this voting is going to be full effect. And we will definitely make sure that we get everybody on board. We want no one to be left behind.
Okay. We'll continue to talk. Thank you so much for that.
We can definitely continue talking offline if you want.
All right.
All right.
We'll do.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else? I don't want to hold you guys up.
I don't see any other hands up right now, Gloria, but I ask for those who cannot attend the forums, because there are occasions where it, you know, clashes with someone else's you know, meeting schedule, so to speak.
We are
If-
encouraging it. We are encouraging candidates who may not be able to attend their forums, if they know that they're not going to be able to attend, if they can actually email me their statement, I will read it at the end of the other candidates speaking. Because we are allowing, we used to do videos before. We're just reading the statement of the candidate who may not be able to attend, and we have to respect that some people's work schedule may not accommodate them, and just maybe sometimes it's a day that they just can't attend. But we want to make sure that their statement is read into the video, because during that voting time, that statement will stand out.
I appreciate that, but I also want to know how come they just didn't let them do the videos like they did the last
I'm
last
not sure.
session?
Okay, I'm not sure who made that decision. It was what was decided this time, but I will certainly, it's something that we will definitely have a conversation when this is all over, because I think we're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work.
Mhm.
And we want to make sure that we don't repeat errors that that didn't work. You know, but we're always here to listen to whatever the parents think will work best. And, you know, we're always receptive to ideas. No ideas ever turned away, you know.
All right. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you very much, Ms. Corsino.
All right, guys.
And thank you for all that you do for D75 and its
Absolutely.
constituents.
Thank you. And Miss Jewett, I did see your daughter. So congratulations and good luck to her.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Our next item up, because we did rearrange the agenda a little bit, is for Mr. Shamel Lawrence, who wishes to speak and address this audience. So, Mr. Lawrence, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Green, for allowing me to thank. Forgive me, my camera. I'm out. As we know, our city have suffered some tragedy over the yesterday in Harlem. So I'm out full force with the police department addressing those issues alongside them. But I just wanted to take a moment out to say, it had been an honor and privilege to work with this council. Even though I leave this body, my work does not stop. I will continue being a voice and a strong partner with this council and the superintendent office. I thank all of those who I had the opportunity to meet, and to my brother, Mr. Spencer. We served during one of the worst times, and we pulled it off, and we did tremendous work for D75. So I say farewell to all of you, but know that I am a partner that you could always reach out to. I have stepped up in some higher ranking role, serving with Nan Al Shopping as his vice president of the disability committee, and I will be overseeing that. So please don't be a stranger to me. And I'm here to support you. And we have a lot of work to do as we witnessed a couple of days in Washington Heights. The young man was attacked that was autistic. I will be visiting him this weekend. So please keep in contact. Let's continue doing this work because there's so much that we have to do for this community, especially, but as a whole, the city. So I say farewell. Thank you. Thank you for the good times and the bad times. And I look forward to continue being a partner with y'all. Thank you. I turn it back to
And
you.
thank
Ms.
you, Mr. Lawrence, for all that you've done for D75 and its families, and for holding it down, especially during the pandemic, and getting the job done, and running the busing committee and the curriculum committee, and just being a phenomenal advocate on behalf of D75 and its students. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
President Green, can I please say a few words?
Surely,
Lawrence?
please go ahead, Mr. Louisant. Superintendent Louisant, please do.
Thank you so much. Mr. Lawrence, on behalf of the whole District 75, we would like to thank you for your commitment and dedication to our district. I don't know any time when we reach out to you that you weren't available. And so I know you understood very well that the work we are doing is a work we need to do together, and you have always made yourself available to support us, to support our students, to advocate on our behalf. You have really been a strong force for District 75, and we will definitely miss your presence, but we know your spirit, your action, and your advocacy will remain behind. And so I don't plan to change my personal cell phone. I think you have it. So does every member here. So please continue to reach out if there is any way District 75 can support your next endeavor. We are here to do the work together, and I would love to continue to partner with you. So thank you for who you are and everything you have done to support our students, our families, and the entire District 75. All the best and Godspeed.
Thank you, Superintendent, and I will definitely be in contact with you.
Thank you, Co-President Green.
You're welcome, Superintendent Louison, and thank you again, Mr. Lawrence. Next, we're going to go back to something we skipped over in the agenda earlier, which was actually instituted by Mr. Lawrence and Mr. Spencer during the pandemic, in the beginning days of the pandemic. So we're going to ask to have a moment of silence to remember all those we have lost, whether they be students or staff or parents within DOE or within D75. So if you all can bear with us and we have a moment of silence. Thank you, everyone. Next, we're going on to our Superintendent Extraordinaire, Mr. Kettler Louisant. Mr. Louisant?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you for your kindness and generosity with your kind words. I appreciate it very much, and I receive them on behalf of our great team here that continue to work to really improve outcome for all students. I don't know if that will be discussed in another part of the agenda, but I wanted to give some update on the situation at Sunset Park High School. So, Madam Co-President, I don't know if you would want me to speak about it now or later on.
No, please go ahead.
Okay.
No, please go ahead. Mm-hmm.
So I think I need to leave many people here, especially Mr. Spencer, that really escalated the matter to the whole council and to the district. And that's another example just to show you that whether it's one person or 10 people, the fact is that we had the chance to engage with Janice Ross, the superintendent that supervised Sunset Park High School. And I also have to lift up two other parents as well, Miss Seeley and Miss Amash. They were also very instrumental in pushing on behalf of District 75 and advocating and making sure our students were in this place for a long time. And I always tell you, there are ways your support and advocacy can go. Sometimes your hands are much longer than our hands, and that's why I am with all humility, thanking each and every one of you that played a part in the resolution of this issue. So after Miss Seeley, Mr. Spencer, Miss Amash, and some of the council members here reach out to elected officials, to the DOE. So we did get to speak with Superintendent Ross. I had about 2 conversations with her, and she promised me that she will be reaching out to her principal to ensure that we reach a resolution in this, I would say, quagmire. our students were displaced, unreasonably displaced, and they had to vacate the rooms where they are for their inclusion program. And the superintendent did reach out to the principal and did get our space returned to us. I had the pleasure of visiting Sunset Park High School and our students and our staff there. I witnessed them in the places they were before, visited those rooms. But I think situation like that shouldn't happen. Decision like that shouldn't be made unilaterally. There are building councils. When there are leaders that are sharing a building, they should come have a conversation and come to a resolution. That's why both Superintendent Ross and I, we are committed to make sure that there is no lasting implication for this decision. We want to make sure though that the inclusion program there continue to flourish, and that the Sunset Park High School principal can continue to collaborate with 371K principal, so together they can support all of the students that really share the campus. We are so glad that we reach a resolution and our students are now in the classroom that they were before. And we want to say thank you to each and every one of you that have supported us, that have really championed this cause, that have lifted your voices to make sure our students were treated fairly and respectfully and could continue with their program without any disruption. So I am really relieved and very happy about that. I know another item that Mr. Spencer had wanted us to discuss today was the new school locking system. I will just say that there are many conversations around that, and I know the message was shared at high level, but there is a lot of now consideration and reconsideration. People, there are teams that are looking at best way to make that happen. I have had a conversation with Mary Mason Simpson, who is a safety director, and she advised me that there is not a final decision has not been reached because they are considering the pro and con of this decision. For example, if a parent is not, let's say, English, is not an English speaking parent, but the parent wants to come to the school, will the school safety agent that is, at the desk and looking at the camera will understand that this parent is actually a parent who wants to come in the school for any issue with his child, her child, or their child. So all those questions concerning issues around that are being looked into right now. And so I am sure there will be much more to come on that. This decision is under the Chancellor's office and Mark Rempersant's office. I know Mark has made a presentation to another parent body. I don't know if some of you were present at the time, but that's something we can work with Mary Mason Simpson if there is a need for him to come and present to you. That's something we are willing to request from Mark Rempersant office. NICSA account, we continue to really push that in our schools. We are trying to resolve all possible technical issues, but please know that the district itself is not able to resolve those issues, but we escalate them all the time. The schools are working tirelessly to make sure they can support families the best way they can. The school designate account managers who can provide the access code information to the primary guardian of the student. I know you may have some questions. I know Ray and Sasha and Jackie are here. We can field some of your questions. We know the importance for families to have an active Nixa account. We just heard about it, but Ms. Corsino just presented to us about that again, and we need that for election, and also a variety of resources and information families can have access to. Our office, the district office, has been in the forefront into pushing school, inspiring, motivating school to reach out to families and to provide support. We will continue to do so, but I will tell you, the number continue to grow, and so that's something we are very pleased to see. We are currently exploring hosting a health and wellness event for families. We will be reaching out to parent leadership, asking for one parent member from each group, both the council and the PTA executive board, to join us in the planning committee. We don't want to have any event, any program in District 75 without partnering with you from the beginning, the inception of it. So that's why we would like to have this health and wellness symposium, and would love to partner with you on that as well. We are still planning to have our other workshop for families. We know that the council had reached out to us about sex ed. This is something that we know is important. Not only our schools are teaching sex education, but if there is any way we can collaborate among ourselves, that's what we will do as well. And we are really ready to sit down with you and explore additional options to make that training available to all families. Transition standpoint, we have 105 students that are currently enrolled in Work, Learn, and Grow. And we are very pleased with this number. You know, the pandemic has really decimated a lot of work-based learning program, but I am glad that slowly but surely we are getting our students back in their communities, learning vocational skill and engaging in work-study program. The Summer Youth Employment Program application process, as we indicated to you last time, opened 2 weeks ago. So the Office of Transition and Post-Secondary Planning held a parent workshop in the beginning of March. And as we had advised you, 60 plus families attended. And so we took time to walk family through the online application process, and so they could support their children in applying for summer youth employment. If you know of any family that may need help, we are here to support. We are also working with our parent coordinators so they can be ambassadors for the program at their school levels. So we would love to do this work with you because, as you know, we have received 1,000 slots and there might be more available. So we want to make sure not a single one goes to waste and our students can have full access to all those slots, but we need them to apply, and we need your support in ensuring, if you know of anybody that is experiencing some challenges, that you let us know so we can support, or you can let the school know as well, because they do have some staff available there that can walk family through the online process. Thank you. I will now transition my remarks to Deputy Superintendent Shirley Kleinberg. I almost gave her a big promotion.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Superintendent Louis-san. And hello, it's nice. It's always such a pleasure to be here with all of you. So nice to see all of you this evening. A few additional updates related to attendance. Our District 75 leadership team is continuing to work very closely with all of our schools to make sure that our students are engaged and that they want to come to school every day, and to remove any of the barriers that might be factors in student attendance and supporting their increased engagement. So to give you a few data points related to attendance, from September to March 7th, our attendance has moved to 81.3%, which is up from 80.9% last month. So we are making some gains. The citywide overall attendance rates, cumulative attendance from September to March is at 89.4%. To put that into perspective for you, District 75 attendance on March 7th was at 84.5%. Citywide attendance on March 7th was 89.9%. So we're definitely leveraging that gap. We still have continued work to do to continue to make sure that all of our students are in school every day. And we, as always, are so appreciative to our family support in that process, and will continue that engagement. Related to curriculum and instruction, I wanted to lift up some of the phenomenal literacy practices that we're seeing in our schools. There have been a lot of wonderful celebrations of learning that schools have been showcasing in terms of literacy practices, in terms of read aloud, showcasing of the different ways that students are engaging in literacy in its various forms, which continues to be a huge focus across the entire DOE and for all of us in District 75. Our schools have been working very closely with students to continue to build their foundational literacy skills through ongoing phonics instruction, targeted interventions in assessed areas of needs, and ongoing classroom exploration in areas such as letter sound correspondence, vocabulary development, and a wide variety of texts. We are also seeing beautiful examples of the exploration of culturally responsive literacy through all kinds of venues, books, art, music, film, and theater. And as students in our schools have been exploring in recent months important historical and present day figures and events in their studies over the past couple months of Black History Month, currently Women's History Month, and across cross-content units of study. We actually had a meeting with a representative from Central DOE's literacy collaborative to talk about ways that we can continue to combine our efforts to be able to infuse supports across District 75, and also to make sure that the needs and adaptations to ensure that students with disabilities are able to access literacy across venues are kept front and center in professional learning across the DOE. To that end, we have also been collaborating with our partners at the DOE in the most recent installment that's underway in the DOE's Hidden Voices curriculum. That is a collaboration between the literacy and social studies departments in looking at ways to help students across our schools to understand different components of our nation's history. And right now they're working on a unit on disability awareness. So we're very excited to be partnering with them to make sure not only that that the most important content is being included in those units, but also to make sure that as those units are being developed, that they're accessible to diverse audiences. So all of our students have access to that learning alongside all students across the DOE. And there will be so many more opportunities to showcase this exciting literacy learning that's happening in our schools. We're very excited for our upcoming spring events that we know that you have seen on our calendar. We'll continue to be messaging to you, including District 75's Poetry Slam next month, our May Spelling Bees, debates, the STEM Fair, and the Festival of the Arts, all of which will help to showcase the ways that our students are expressing themselves and using literacy building strategies. So more to come in terms of that exciting learning. We also, on behalf of Shona, would like to share with you some summer programming updates. As we did last year, we're working closely with our partners in the New York City Public Schools and the Department of Youth and Community Development to infuse and supplement our daily Chapter 683 summer programming with in-school and after-school enrichment opportunities as are being built across the city. This summer's Chapter 683 dates will be staff professional development on Monday, July 3rd and Wednesday, July 5th. The first day of classes for students will be Thursday, July 6th, and the last day of class for students will be Tuesday, August 15th. There will be more details to come as we receive more information related to summer programming and planning. We will absolutely share all of that information with you. I'm going to turn the mic over to our family team to provide you with some family engagement updates as well. Jackie, are you available?
I'm here.
Great, thanks, Jackie.
Of course. We have currently 5 parent coordinator vacancies in District 75. That would be 370K, 53K, 23Q, 373R, and 4K. Base and District 75 continue to collaborate to increase in Excel registration and applying for a seat on the CEC in one of the 32 districts. As of March 2023, we have over 13,200 NICSA accounts activated in D75. Our numbers are increasing and we are continuing to work with our schools to encourage registration. Our reinstatement of the District 75 Fathers Initiative, rebranded as the District 75 Fathers Council, kicked off with an invitational bowling game on March 3rd. Fathers were introduced to other District 75 dads and administrators who wish to develop new ways to engage fathers in District 75. About 30 dads joined us for fun and conversation on that day. On Saturday, March 11th, they held a photography session. Everyone had a great time and learned all about the elements of photography and how to create dynamic compositions. The District 75 Fathers Council team knows it is essential to build a sense of community first, and as such, develop these activities to get several fathers familiar with schools, the district, and each other. The goal of the Fathers Council is to help build equity. We have had over 900 families register for the music program. We are also excited to see so many families interested in this program. We will explore how we can include more families or dates for the program in the future. The schools that hosted the events were P53K, P369K, P396K, P373R, P596X, and 811X. The district will also be hosting 3 workshops on understanding the behaviors of adolescents in April. These workshops will address questions and concerns that many families have about puberty, adolescence, sexuality, feelings, and behaviors. We will also host 2 workshops on toilet training. The workshops will be held in April and in May. Flyers will be sent home to families in the next 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Ortega.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that the music program also begins on March 18th, this Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Does anyone at this time, does anyone have any questions for Superintendent Louisant, for Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, or for Ms. Ortega? I'm going to start with the council members, and then we're going to go to the audience. And council members, please keep it to 1.5 minutes, please. Do any council members have any questions for Superintendent Louisant, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, or Ms. Ortega? Go ahead, Mr. Spencer.
Thank you, Co-President Green. Thank you, Superintendent Louisant, Mr. Kleinberg, Ms. Ortega. Thank you so much for the update. Guess this is going to be an ongoing conversation. Superintendent, you would and Co-President Green. So the time that we were going to spend on that second agenda item, I'm just going to transfer it to here, since we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, if you don't mind, because that way we could just go on to what the resolution that we have to do. So I'm just going to take that time to address. You understand what I'm saying? Because it was an agenda item, but it's being brought up now. So I'm just going to spend a couple minutes, if you don't mind.
No problem. Go ahead.
Thank you. Superintendent, 2 questions, and then Ms. Kleinberg, I have a third. So in reference to Superintendent Ross, so you said that she was having a conversation with Sunset Park High School's principal. The space has been restored. Is there something else that has to be communicated with? I understand, because the building council, it seemed like somebody dropped the ball. So is there something else that needs to be resolved regarding that communication line? That's number 1. And number 2, in reference to the school locking system, Mr. Rampersant was kind enough to be on a safety committee call last Wednesday or so, hosted by Ms. Husbands, my co-council member. And he had mentioned that, because my specific question to him, there were a couple things. Ms. Healy was there, Ms. Husbands was there. The main thing is, when is that conversation coming down to our level? Yes, Ms. Simpson is saying that there's discussions being made, but where is that? Where do we have a safety committee here? How do we get involved so we can ask the questions in terms of how things are being adjusted for not only for those who don't speak English, but those that have hearing impairment, sight impairment, speech impairment? How is that being broken? Also, mobility impairment, and also, Mr. Rampersant also mentioned the fact that on a district level, because there were plans on opening on identifying District 75 schools where this would like a trial basis. And when I asked him that question, he had stated that it's a safety director on a district level. So who can the council keep in contact with on this? Because I'm sure not only this council, but the council that's going to be elected is going to want to follow up. So I have those two questions, and then Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, I'll come back for my third question. Thank you.
Thank you for the two questions, Mr. Spencer. They are really valid and reasonable question. Thank you for that. I will tell you, under the leadership of our Chancellor, parents have been brought up to all levels of decision making in the New York City public school system. And I think I have many of you here that can testify to that. I do not want to speak on behalf of Mr. Remperson. That's a different department, but yet we do a lot of collaboration. The best way I can make sure that all voices are part of the decision is to connect and follow up with our Borough Safety Director, Mary Mason Simpson, and tell her to invite Mr. Remperson to one of our meeting here so he can engage with you and answer your question directly. I don't think as a system, as a department, we want to make any decision that does not include the input of our families. Remember now, the Chancellor third pillar is parent as true partners. And that's why I believe Mr. Remperson will be more than happy to come and answer the question that the council may have. For the first question, the reason that I say that Superintendent Ross will continue to engage with the principal, it is not to say that there's more thing that gonna happen. But since there is an inclusion program at Sunset Park High School, we want to make sure the program continue to grow and to flourish. And Superintendent Ross and I will continue to have conversation to explore additional ways we can expand the program. We can have even more access. I don't even want our access to be limited to those classrooms, right? Let me give you a perfect example. I was speaking with Principal Heather Miller, right? Mr. Spencer, who is principal of our District 75 School 371 that is co-located at Sunset Park High School. And one of our plans is to engage with, I believe the name of the principal, if I don't want to, say the wrong thing, but she planned on meeting with Sunset High School principal just to see if we can use part of their schoolyard, because there are lots of sport activities that our student can engage in. So that's why I said that the conversation will continue, because there is so much more they will need to do together and we will need to do together. That was it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Superintendent. I guess that's going to be let me because I need to, Co-President Green, if you don't mind. First off, I need to recognize Panel for Education Policy member Jessamine Lee. I'm glad she's on it, because she was one of the voices last month that expressed concern about the locking system and where's that conversation going? How far down? And I mentioned it to Mr. Ramperson, it can't be top heavy. It's got to come down. But I need to recognize Councilmember Husbands. She's been collaborating with me on this. Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, just before I ask you that question, I just want to see if Ms. Husbands has a question, because she was close to me on this subject, both subjects.
You have the
Good
floor,
night.
Ms. Husbands. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good night, everyone. So I just wanted to put as the safety chair. So we did have a meeting with Mr. Rampersad on March 8th and Mr. Shea, John Shea, from the Division of School Safety. It was a discussion only based around the new locking system. And both gentlemen admitted that there were some concerns that they didn't take into account when designing, implementing, choosing this particular system, such as those that are hearing impaired, visually impaired, non-English speakers, nonverbal. The conversation continued after the meeting, and the meeting is now available on our YouTube page, and I implore everyone to watch it, and you will get further details about it. And Miss Angel just put it up in put the link in the chat for everyone. And the conversation has continued. The conversation with Mary Mason, our borough director, has been longstanding with the safety committee and herself. She has graced our platform and has went into a deep dive in terms of safety and protecting our kids. And I know she's passionate about it. Mr. Rampersad says that he will consider and continue the conversation with the safety chair, myself, the safety committee, I should say. If there are any safety concerns, he has been answering my emails and his assistant. So if there are any specific concerns, please email the council or email the safety. I'll put the safety email in the chat as well. And it's aligned to him. And you're right, Mr. Spencer. It's not, it shouldn't be top heavy. And I think they really got it, and they really understood that we need to be a part of it on the front end, so you don't have to come back on the back end and make corrections. So I just wanted to let that be known, that the conversation was had, and it continues. And hopefully going forward, as I told him during and after, that we need to be a part of it. We need to be a part of the decision making, because we know what our children need most, and he was in agreement to that. So he can be invited, but he was already invited. He came, and I implore everyone to watch. It's an hour and a half. We also had someone else that I'll discuss later on in my safety report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Husbands. Appreciate that. Just so I can keep things moving, just going to leave my last question to Ms. Kleinberg. Hi, Ms. Kleinberg. How are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you.
You've been updating the council on calendar meetings since November, really, in reference to assessments. I don't think it was mentioned today. I know it was mid-year assessments, I think January and February. Can you give us give not only our council, but our constituents an update on that, please? Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for paying such close attention. You're right. I focused on the literacy today, but that is absolutely related. So yes, our schools did complete their midpoint assessments. And I think I've mentioned this in the past, that to get the back end full data pull from the central data systems takes some time. So actually our director of data analysis is meeting with our liaison from the Office of Periodic Assessments tomorrow. I just spoke to her about it today, to begin to look at the data to be able to do that analysis. So as soon as we have the full-scale analysis across the district for the typical screener assessments that we use, the Web Ables, the Sandy assessment, MAP growth, etc. We will absolutely share some of those high-level updates with you. What I can say is the schools have been engaging at the local level in that comparative analysis. And as the superintendent and I and our liaisons visit schools, we have been hearing from them on some of those outcomes. So what they're doing is they're looking at the growth that students have made, and the timing falls such that at parent-teacher conferences that I know are happening this week and over the course of this month, it's a really exciting time to be able to share updates with families, and schools are prepared to do so, to really look granularly at each student's individual growth, to target where did they have increases from baseline to midpoint, where might there be areas that need continued support if there wasn't as much growth, or if they need to maybe look at some different strategies in literacy, in math, in communication skills, etc., to be able to provide the appropriate interventions and curriculum adaptations and supports. So yes, all of those midpoint assessments were completed. We will provide more information to you at the district level on what we're seeing as a whole in terms of various grade bands, various assessments, etc., as soon as we have the full analysis at the district level. I do encourage all of you during your parent-teacher conferences to engage in those conversations with students, teachers, because that is information that they do have access to at the school level. And it really becomes the biggest driver to next steps for students based on where they are, where we're seeing the biggest gains, and what we might need to do to keep doing or do in a different way to produce the gains and the outcomes that we want to see for our students.
Thank you, Deputy Superintendent Klingberg. I have another question, but I see Ms. Angel, Treasurer Angel has, I don't want to monopolize, so let her ask her question.
Go ahead, Councilmember Angel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Green. I did want to ask a quick question in regard to our data. For our district, do we have specific checks and balances to make sure that our data is accurate and correct for our students? I know that we have different checkpoints as data comes in from teachers, as data comes in from schools. How are we mining through that to make sure the level of accuracy? If you don't know, it's okay. I just wanted to just put it out there to ask really quickly.
No, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So again, many of the data sources that we utilize are coming to us from central DOE, because a lot of the systems that we use for assessments are through central databases, through the screeners that we use. So that data pull is coming to us from the central level from all of our schools. What we are able to do is to look at that data, and if we see any pieces of information that we have further questions about, we're able to go to the source of that data to ask those questions. So if we're seeing pockets where there is a tremendous amount of gain for students, and we want to find out what strategies are being used to produce those outcomes, so we can we can mirror those elsewhere, that's something that we're going to do. If we're not seeing growth and gains, those are conversations as well to see if there's any additional supports that might be needed, or even if there's additional training in terms of assessment administration or data review and analysis and systems and structures for collecting and documenting that data that might need to be looked at. I'm not sure if that fully answers your question, but those are the things that we are doing as we look at each data pull to be able to make sure that the integrity of that data reporting is intact.
Thank you. Yes, this is very helpful. Last question. When you say we, do we have a total number of the people that are looking over the data to make sure that it is accurate? Or the
So
departments?
sure, that's another great question. We do have a assessment and accountability team at District 75. So, and they work collaboratively with the central offices of periodic assessments, with the academic policy office, etc. So those teams liaise with each other, and also our partners at the special education office will look at data such as our program service data to make sure that students are getting all of their services and that their programming is linked to the courses that are necessary for them to be taking. So we have those checks and balances. On our data team, we have our director, we have we have members of the team that take on some of the various components of the data specialist role. So they're looking at the source systems that we use for our data. We have a team member that's looking at testing data specifically to be able to inform practices and make sure that everybody has the information that they need related to the New York State alternate assessment, related to the state assessments, etc., to confirm that everybody is getting the appropriate training. We also have members of the team that do some of the operational data that are looking at our attendance across our schools, at our ATS data to make sure that the streamlining of student articulation supports the alignment of their program with the appropriate its designations on their IEP are in place. So we have that team that works with central team members. So internally, it's a team right now of about 6 people right now that are looking at that data, but they're working with partners across various offices in central DOE as well. So it's a ripple effect of all of the people that are looking at this.
Thank you so much for just breaking that down in the eloquent way that you did. I would love to uplift, as I've been doing a little bit of looking around last year and this year with the annual report, I came across the fact that the Office of Accountability does not section out D75 students from special education. So we're kind of meshed in. And I think if they can maybe have a point with you guys or however that may work, I'm not sure how it works behind the scenes, but I do think our kids need to be represented in a space that is theirs and not just kind of meshed in with everyone else. If that could be something that's flagged or worked on, if I'm wrong, but I do want to just put that on someone's radar. And thank you so much, Shelley.
Of course, my pleasure. And our director of data analysis is a phenomenal advocate. So I'll make sure that we share that messaging with her so she can make sure that she's uplifting those thoughts to all the right people.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Angel. Councilmember Spencer, can you hold on for a minute? Let me just make sure no other council member has a question before you continue. Does any other council member have a question for either Superintendent Louisant, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, or the D75 team?
I have a question. I'm sorry, I wasn't able to raise my hand.
Not a problem. Go ahead. You have the floor, Ms. Husbands.
It's just going to be quick. Just following up on data. I just wanted to know if the data is standardized for to assess the students that are in inclusion programs as a part of the accountability.
So when we break down our look at data, we can look by student population. So we are able to look at the different streams of the progress of our students across different programmatic categories.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Go ahead, Councilmember Spencer, because we also need to give the audience a chance to ask the superintendent.
Appreciate that, President Green. This is I need to uplift Secretary Montavon and her challenges since she's been on this council, getting her kids, her children into summer program at the same school. And Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, can you, maybe you can't speak to it now, but at our joint meeting in April, can you give us an update in reference to registration for summer and making sure that parents like Secretary Montavon and other parents don't have that concern going into the summer? We want to get our parents a heads up as much as possible that these are coming in. If you have siblings, get them together as best as possible. Can you speak to that, or can you leave that for a follow-up for the April joint business calendar meeting, please? Thank you.
So I'm actually going to pass the mic over to Shona Gibson, who has joined our call, to be able to provide you with some response to that.
Hi, good evening, Council. I can commit to giving you an update at the next meeting. Not all of those details have been worked out yet, and I think that not that I think, and if I learn more, when is the next council meeting?
I believe it's April 19th.
April 19th. Okay. If we learn more before then, I will definitely make sure that this council gets communication around that. Okay.
Thanks, Shona.
Nice to see you all tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Does any member of the audience have a question or a comment for Superintendent Louisant, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, or the team? Go ahead, Ms. Jessamine Lee.
Hi, Celia. Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
Yes, I know I saw you last week at some joint public hearings, but I just wanted to pop on really quickly and introduce myself and say hi. My name is Jessamine Lee. I'm the pet member from Brooklyn. I was appointed by the Brooklyn CECs, and to also let you know that I'm also a special education parent of an autistic child who does have a 12-month IEP, who is not in a D75 program, but I just point that out to say I'm not entirely unfamiliar with the concerns, and I love coming into spaces with other special education parents because you all really know your stuff, and I really appreciate a well-informed parent body. So thank you for all your hard work. And I would like to drop my email in the chat here to just let you know that I'm here, I am listening, and fully intend to advocate for your students. I do have maybe a sneak peek, not the full story, on Summer Rising, because I had a briefing on it yesterday. Summer Rising, to the best of my understanding, Summer Rising applications will open up on April 4th. And I do know what I can share from that briefing is that the DOE will be more thoughtful in terms of prioritizing certain groups of students for admission into Summer Rising. And one of the groups that will be prioritized are students with disabilities, students with special needs. I don't know that that really resolves the same school concern if a student is, the sibling is not a student with special needs, but there were a lot of learning concerns, or there were a lot of concerns expressed by my colleagues and I on the PEP about Summer Rising and about the degree of support the degree of support students like ours received from particularly the CBOs and the enrichment afternoon portion of the day, as well as with the busing issues. So it sounds like things will be better this year. I don't know that they're going to be perfect, but you should flag April 4th on your calendars. And we did ask them, why would you have enrollment start at the beginning of a school break? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but did not really get coherent answers on the rationale behind that thinking. But I figured I should give you guys a heads up on that. So I will put my email in the chat. I don't want to take up too much of your time in this space. Thank you again for giving me a moment. And please reach out if you have concerns. I was very happy, along with your co-chairs, was at a bunch of joint public hearings for new D75 sites across Brooklyn last week that are up for vote this month. I don't anticipate that they will receive any pushback. I think they're widely supported. So at least in Brooklyn, some more kids will be able to attend school, have shorter bus rides, and attend schools in their home communities where they belong. So thank you.
Thank you, Jessamine Lee. Thank you.
Can I
Okay.
just jump in? I'm so sorry, Co-President Green. Jasmine, I just wanted to say thank you so much for participating in all of the new existing co-location for District 75 proposals throughout the 5 boroughs, because we had tons of them this season. So just want to appreciate you and your colleagues being in that space and supporting the needs of special education in District 75.
Well, hopefully, thank you. I think hopefully with the expansion of the parental representation on the PEP from 1 person to at least, 5 appointees from each borough, you guys, all parents can get more access and more support and have their concerns elevated. So thank you all for your hard work.
Thank you. Okay, is there any other member of the public that has a question? Last call. Has a question for either Superintendent Louisant, Deputy Superintendent Kleinberg, or the D75 team?
No questions in the Spanish line?
Thank you. What about the Mandarin line?
No questions on the Spanish, on the Mandarin line as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, interpreters. All right, moving along, we're going to go to the resolution to appoint.
I'm sorry, Miss Green. There's a Miss Lewis has a hand up.
Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Go ahead, Miss Lewis.
Yes, I just want to thank Mr. Superintendent Louisant for bringing the arts, the music program to the district. For 6 weeks, parents will be able to bring their children on a Saturday to have their children engaged in music. In the school in my area, there's 2 sessions and they closed up pretty quickly. So, it's just not people dropping their kids off. They're going to be there with their children. And it was an overwhelming success, I think. And it shows that people are interested in having things for their children that they can engage in with them. And I just want to thank him for listening. And I appreciate it. And I'm speaking from parents in my school and the teachers too, because I think it's going to be a good thing. And I'm looking forward to it myself. So thank you again for that. And I appreciate you and your staff.
Miss Louise, you are quite welcome. Thank you. It's not every day we get to get some kudos, so we appreciate it very much. But this is really thanks to the recommendation of our parents here. And that's why I always say we need to continue to do this work together. We're not taking all the credits. This is during my superintendent listening and learning tools that some parents had requested that we have this program for our student over the weekend, and we listen. That's why we need to continue to hear from you to give us feedback. This is only the beginning of things to come, because we want to expand the program even more and add some more program like sport activities for our students, dance, and all different program, photography and all that. So thank you for the feedback. This is really win beneath our wing. So thank you very much.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, let me give it a second. Okay. Seeing no other hands up and seeing nothing in the chat, we're going to move on to our next subject, which is a vote on the resolution to appoint an administrative assistant for CCD 75. So our speaker is from the hiring committee, or should be speakers. Ms. Constance, Councilmember Constance Acedu, and Councilmember Patricia Jewett.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I do want to state before I start, I can't raise my hand, but you do need to make certain council members co-host. If you look, I believe Ms. Husbands, Ms. Jones, Mr. Morales, also Ms. Jewett, and co-president Sy as well. Okay. Again.
I'm sure co-president Sy will do that because right now I'm not a co-host
Oh,
either. So co-president Sy, if you can do that, it would be greatly appreciated.
okay.
Including making
I
you
will
co-host.
read the resolution again, just for the record before, and if there's any discussion before we go to a vote.
Sure.
Resolution to appoint an administrative assistant. Whereas the Citywide Council for District 75 requires competent staff to support it in the fulfillment of its mission, powers, and duties, and whereas the Citywide Council for District 75 is authorized by law to appoint, supervise, evaluate, and discharge an administrative assistant, and whereas the Citywide Council for District 75 has conducted an application and interview process of qualified candidate, now therefore be it resolved that the Citywide Council for District 75 appoints Helene Verdejo to the position of Administrative Assistant effective April 3rd, 2023, with a salary of $49,367 per year upon the successful submission and acceptance of DOE required documentation, including a check of key background information, fingerprint clearance by the Division of Human Resources, and a reference check by the council. The resolution adopted by roll call vote of the council for District 75 on March 15th, 2023 by a vote of. And we can proceed with the vote.
Councilmember Acedu, before you proceed with the vote, the number you read off did not match the number I have on the resolution that was sent out before is 49357. And you said 49367.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Okay. And you're saying the amount does not match?
The amount, the 49 matches, the 49,000 does match.
357. I'm sorry. It's $49,357 per year. Mr. Gonzalez can attest to it. That is the original submission. This is the original one I sent out to the council. The one you're showing is not the original one I sent out to the council.
The one that co-president Sy is showing, but I have.
Right, it's not the original. It's not the original resolution I sent out.
No, I understand. I'm reading, but I am reading from the original. That's why I said, you said something.
It is 357.
Okay, 357.
Yeah.
All right.
On the original. That's what I'm reading for.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have? I'm sorry, Co-President Green, because even this resolution has 357.
Yes, but you said when you were reading it, you said 367. So
I'm sorry. If I made the error, I apologize. It is 357. You're absolutely correct. I'm sorry.
Not a problem.
Okay.
All right, so we can go to, is there any discussion from any council? I can't tell. Is there any discussion from any council members? All right. Go ahead, Mr. Spencer. You have the floor.
Unfortunately, Mr. Lawrence is no longer a member of this council. Do we need to adjust that resolution?
It will be
It
adjusted,
is,
Mr. Lawrence.
it is,
Mr.
it'll
Spencer,
be adjusted and sent out, you know,
to the council.
in the morning.
Myself and Ms. Jewett will readjust the membership list once we get the vote, and it will be sent to Mr. Gonzalez and his supervisors, his face, as well as the council. Okay?
Thank you.
Are we ready? All right, so Ms. Montalban, if you can go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Do you want me to record this vote on that paper with the resolution or on a regular motion?
And you can do it on a regular motion. We can attach it. It's you can do it the regular alphabetical.
Okay.
So go ahead. We'll attach it. It will be sent out. To
So we are voting to adopt the resolution. Ms. Christy Angel,
Yes.
Ms. Constance Asiadu,
Yes.
Celia Green,
Yes.
Ms. Aisha Husbands,
Yes.
Ms. Patricia Jewett,
Yes.
Ms. Joanne Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Christy Montalban, yes. Mr. Angel Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Craig Spencer,
Yes.
and Ms. Amy Mingside.
Yes.
Okay, we have 10 votes for yes, the resolution has passed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Montalban. Thank you, council members.
Yeah. I just text Saja to come down.
All right, Pat, I'm gonna mute your mic for a second. All right, our next topic. All right. Is the review and vote on a resolution to have the PEP vote on the Fair Student Funding Formula prior to the school year 2023-24 budget and resolution. To amend New York State. Oh. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. To amend New York State Education Law 2853 Subdivision 3, facilities in regard to charter school co-locations in New York City public school buildings. So our speakers will be, I believe it's Councilmember Angel and Councilmember Husbands, I think, for that particular resolution.
If you can share the resolutions, we'll read them or take turns.
Okay.
CCD 75 resolution number 4, term 2223, resolution on citywide council for District 75 support with citywide community education council CCEC on the panel for educational policy vote on the fair student funding formula prior to the school year 2023 to 2024 budget. Whereas 2 New York City parents and 2 teachers filed a lawsuit Monday, July 18th, 2022, seeking to overturn the city council's approval of the city budget, which cut hundreds of millions of dollars from school budgets from this upcoming academic year. Whereas the lawsuit filed against New York City, the education department, and schools chancellors David Banks claims that the city officials failed to follow the proper protocols before elected officials voted on the final budget, which took effect July 1st, 2022. Whereas the plaintiffs also want a temporary restraining order on implementation of the budget cuts and city schools funded at the same levels as last fiscal year. Whereas the lawsuit claims that the city skirted proper protocols by failing to allow the Panel for Education Policy, or PEP, a largely mayoral appointed board that approves major contracts and policies, to approve the department's estimated budget before it went to City Council for a final vote. Whereas Chancellor Banks created a new FSK task force composed of representatives from the CSA, UFT, elected officials, PEP members, CCEC members, education advocacy organizations, and students, which released recommendations on November 4th, 2022. Whereas the Chancellor announced recommendations made by the Fair Students Funding FSK Task Force to the existing formula in an effort to address the existing inequities in the current funding formula. Whereas the Chancellor has also accepted additional recommendations from the working group, which do not directly impact fair student funding weights. Whereas in the early spring of 2022, the Panel for Education Policy, PEP, surprised the Adams administration by voting to reject the FSF funding allocations for the 2022-23 school year. PEP members voting against the FSF cited more than a decade of school short funding and the perceived inadequacies of numerous FSF funding categories. Whereas the need to reevaluate the FSF formula might never have been revealed had the PEP not temporarily rejected the 2022-23 FSF allocation. Whereas the city has reduced the amount of per pupil funding it provides to schools through fair student funding by about $25 per student due to a drop in average teacher salaries across the whole system. Whereas school budget cuts have resulted in the accessing of teachers and elimination of enrichment programs such as art and music, vacancies in related service providers and special education instructors will be left unfilled, and students who need special education supports will have their IEPs violated and continue to fall behind. Whereas with the influx of asylum seekers coming to our city, schools will require additional funding to support this population, in addition to the McKinney-Vento funding set aside to support students in temporary housing, STH. Whereas it would only make sense in an effort to avoid any delay in planning for school year 2023-24 to have a firm grasp of what FSF will look like prior to a vote on the budget. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Citywide Council for District 75, CCD75, demands that Chancellor Banks ask the PEP to vote on the fair student funding formula prior to the school year 2023-2024 budget. Let it be resolved that CCD75 recommends the FSF task force be allowed to continue their work and be allowed to develop policy, implementation guidelines, and accountability measures after the vote has occurred, no matter the outcome. This resolution was approved on calendar meeting Wednesday, March 15th, 2023 by a vote of members present, et cetera, which I will now hand it back over to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Angel. Do any of the council members have any questions or discussion on this resolution?
Co-President Green, I will jump in. As Co-President Tsai here, wanted to just support in solidarity our District 75 inclusion students that are daily in our general education classrooms that are serviced within District 75, but pushed into their local peers. This District 75 is not totally directly impacted by fair student funding because their funding is directly different. But since they are in the community school district partners, really want to enrich the programs, the arts, the musics, the STEM and STEAM, still be liable, still be able to be funded, still be able to have the opportunity. And so our local community education councils are encouraging that our PEP members really be vocal on this current budget going forward for the upcoming school year, making sure that they do review and vote and hold accountability as to their funding for the FSF, Fair Student Funding. And so making sure that whatever was guaranteed to us in the previous year during the pandemic, they are owed to us for all of our New York City public school students. So really just to secure the partnership and collaboration that we have with all of our partners for inclusion students, as well as, our integration for our students going to general education. And so this was a template that was circulated within the citywide community education councils. And so they are up to their final budget vote for next Wednesday, a week from today. So I just would like to see a conversation around this particular resolution and how we can be in support. I will turn it back to you. And I think PEP member Jasmine had turned on her camera, and I don't know if she wanted to add more to the PEP consideration for the budget.
Go ahead, PEP member Jessamine Lee.
Thank you. Sorry. The primary reason, and thank you so much for adding this to your agenda tonight. We really appreciate it. The primary reason the PEP members have been asking both citywide councils as well as district level councils to sign on to this resolution is that we are seeking to avoid a situation where by proxy we maintain an outdated and inequitable fair student funding formula going forward. And and it seems that the order of things is putting the cart before the horse. And we know that the city and the DOE will not cease operations if we wait if we wait a month to approve the budget. We realize that throws city council off a little bit, but we think, I think that it's imperative to have, for all the reasons outlined in the resolution, it's imperative to have our students' rights enshrined prior to allocating funding for the school system. So thank you. And I really would like to especially thank Paulette Ha-Healy for drafting this resolution on behalf of all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, PEP member Lee. Okay, do any of the council members have any further discussion?
And I just wanted to bring up Co-President Green that early in September, we were brought up from Family and Community Engagement to involve a representative for Citywide Council for District 75 to sit on the FSF task force. And so I'm not sure if council member Constance Suited had participated, but I know that you and I had given her an opportunity to sit at a task force to be an advisor. And I see council member Spencer have hand up.
Thank you, Co-President Tsai. Thank you for all that have done the hard work to put this resolution together. What's just witnessing what happened in the last, especially since COVID, and the way the budget was, I want to watch my words, but it was a mess. I want to lift up Co-President Tsai's bringing up the inclusion and the fact that speaking from as an inclusion father myself, my daughter's an inclusion. We want to be protective in terms of our kids in a gen ed space. My question is in reference to the resolution, can it be adjusted in terms of the accountability? What struck me most is in terms of IEP students will lose their state mandate. And there's no representation of us without us. And I feel It's not a stickler for me, but I just want to uplift the fact that if we can, I don't know if we can include in the resolution that there be the accountability ensures that our IEP students get their state mandated services. That's what I'd like to see in the resolution, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I just want to uplift that. And maybe Co-President Tsai, Councilmember CDU, maybe Ms. Lee, you could speak more knowledgeable than I am on that, but just I want to express myself in terms of my experience, what I've been through, and what I want the future to be for our students, our District 75 students. So thank you so much for the hard work.
Thank you, Councilmember Spencer. Does any other council member have a have a question or comment on this resolution? Okay, I'm not seeing anything. Maybe that's no. Okay, so is it possible that we can go to a roll call vote? So Ms. Montalban, can we go ahead and do a roll call vote on the Fair Student Funding Resolution?
We need a motion.
Sorry, can we get a motion from one of the council members, please?
I move to accept the resolution as written.
Thank you, Councilmember Angel. Can I get a second, please?
I will second that motion.
We have a second from Co-President Tsai. All right, we're gonna go to a roll call vote now, Ms. Montalban.
Okay, we are voting to adopt the resolution. Ms. Christy Angel,
Yes.
Ms. Constance Asiadu,
Yes.
Ms. Celia Green,
Yes.
Ms. Aisha Husbands,
Yes.
Ms. Patricia Jewett, Ms. Jewett,
She wrote in the text that she have to take a call.
okay. Ms. Joanne Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Christy Montalban, yes. Mr. Angel Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Craig Spencer,
Yes.
and Ms. Amy Meng Tsai.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 votes for yes. The motion has passed.
Thank you, Ms. Montalban. And thank you, council members. Moving right along. Our next subject is committee reports. And we're going to start off with the busing committee.
Co-President
So
Green,
for-
we also have a second resolution that was drafted. We'll have Councilmember Husbands.
My
Who-
apologies. All right, so Councilmember Husbands, I turn it over to you. And if Co-President Tsai can put up the resolution, we can go ahead with that.
Thank you. I'm going to read it. Start reading it because I can't see the screen. Okay, CCD75 resolution. Before I start, is this also resolution number 4?
That's it needs a correction, so we'll do that.
Okay, so it will be number 5, correct?
Correct.
Okay. CCD75 resolution number 5, term 2223. Resolution on citywide council for District 75's position on the amendment of the NYS Education Law 2853 Subdivision 3 Facilities R regarding charter schools co-locations in NYC public school buildings. Whereas New York City Education Law 2853 Subdivision 3 facilities details that a charter school may be located in part of an existing public school building in space provided on a private work site, in a public building, or in any other suitable location. Provided, however, before a charter school may be located in part of an existing public school building, the charter entity shall provide notice to the parents or guardians of the students then enrolled in the existing public school building, and shall hold a public hearing for purposes of discussing the location of the charter school. A charter school may own, lease, or rent its space, whereas an existing school building qualifies as a public school that is currently occupied by a school, whereas newly constructed school buildings that may be slotted for specific use or specific schools and are not occupied do not qualify as an existing school building, whereas charter schools can request space in a DOE building that qualifies as having available space, including new construction. Whereas charter schools seeking space in an existing school building must provide public notice and hold a public hearing with the potentially impacted community members. Whereas charter schools seeking space in a new unoccupied school building are not required to provide public notice nor hold a public hearing with the potential impacted community members. Whereas clarifying the definition of the term existing public school buildings will allow for greater transparency and accountability in decision-making within our communities and in collaboration with DOE and SCA. Therefore, let it be resolved that a definition of an existing school building will be added to the New York State Education Law 2853, Subdivision 3, Facilities, clarifying that an existing school building is one that is currently occupied and or unoccupied, but designated for potential school use. Let it be resolved that the District 75 citywide programs that serves 26,000 New York City school students with disabilities with an IEP across 400 plus standalone and co-location buildings across the 5 boroughs with the mission of interpreting its students with less restrictive instructional classrooms. The referral for more new existing co-locations and or new buildings for D75 and student seats are rising every school year. Special education programs like District 75 should be prioritized and proposed in public school buildings prior to charter schools. This resolution was approved on calendar meeting Wednesday, March 15th by a vote of the present members. Chair?
Co-President Green, if you may, I can jump in. Thank you, Councilmember Husbands, for reading the resolution. So the current state of New York City public schools is impacted by many of the charter programs that's taking a lot of the DOE public buildings. And maybe some of you have been following the current events around Governor Hochul lifting possibly the cap for charter schools, which New York State is heavily on charters, especially here in New York City. We currently have been doing a number of proposals this season as annually as we do here in District 75 Council. We had a earlier proposal, I believe in January, a District 75 School 993Q was in a campus with two other schools, and a proposal was considered for Success Academy, one of the charter programs, to come in. Community District 28 was strongly opposed to that proposal. District 75 993Q SLT was opposed, and the principal certainly was in support of their SLT. So this recognizes that our community engagement and involvement was very important as to an additional school coming in and the experiences that they had through Success Academy, especially, but not just Success Academy, but, you know, just in general charter programs that tries to squeeze in the campus that, you know, try to get space. Certainly we don't want a District 75 to be on a curbside. We want to make sure that all of New York City public school students are served and has a seat in a school building and are safe and are appropriately respected, and you know the tolerance of capacity is there. We've experienced this for a long time since, you know, Success Academy came on board and all of these other charters who followed. So we have over almost 270 plus charter programs in New York City, heavily on boroughs, Brooklyn and the Bronx, but in all 5 boroughs exists. And so currently the Department of Education in New York City is charging, well, is actually taking 30% almost of their budget to pay for rent for charters to be outside of a school building that are leased for charter programs, and they're obligated by New York State law to pay for spaces for the charter programs, which are taxpayer money, which is each and every of us who are New York City taxpayer parents pay taxpayer money to New York City public schools. And so, you know, everyone here has either experienced their personal experience through a charter on their child's campus, or have seen the challenges that we face as New York City parents go through when we are fighting for space, especially for District 75. We have 400 plus co-locations, and multiple of our co-locations are on campuses with charter programs. The city is seeing a decrease in enrollment, as well as charter programs are seeing a decrease in enrollment. And we recognize that special education, not just in District 75, but other special programs like Horizon, Nest, and Ames and ACES, and you know other programs that fit for our specialty programs are interested in rising. And so we want to make sure that they are prioritized, since they are New York City public school students, in possible co-locations or new buildings. So the encouragement here is that not just this resolution being passed in solidarity with all of our citywide community education councils, but really vocalize our elected officials from our Senate and Assembly to make sure that Governor Hochul's bill does not get passed to lift the expansion of charters, especially in co-located buildings, which we deal with in New York City. So this is extremely important, like immediate response needs to happen. And I encourage that our principals and our school leadership teams at District 75 are on board with this as well, because it will be an impact to them now or in the near future. So if other council members would like to share of their experience, or like to discuss it, please feel free to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Co-President Tsai. Does any council members have any discussion or comment on this resolution? I'm not seeing any in chat, and I'm not seeing any hands. So can we get a motion to adopt this resolution?
A motion to adopt the resolution.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Councilmember Husbands has motioned. Can we get a second?
I second it, Co-President Green.
Thank you, Councilmember Spencer. So it was motioned by Councilmember Aisha Husbands and seconded by Councilmember Craig Spencer. Ms. Montalban, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, we are voting to adopt the resolution. Miss Christy Angel,
Yes.
Miss Constance Asiadu,
Yes.
Miss Celia Green,
Yes.
Ms. Aisha Husbands,
Yes.
Ms. Patricia Jewett, okay, I think she might still be away. Miss Joanne Jones,
I'm here. I just had to try to unmute. Yes. Sorry
Okay.
about that. My apologies.
okay, I have Miss Jewett, yes, and I have Miss Jones, yes. Miss Christy Montalban, yes. Mr. Angel Morales,
Yes.
Mr. Craig Spencer,
Yes.
and Miss Amy Ming Tsai.
Yes.
Okay, we have 9 votes of yes, the motion has passed.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Montalban. Thank you. Okay. We're going right back to, sorry. We are going on to CCD75 committee reports. And we are going to start with the busing committee, who former chair was Mr. Shamel Lawrence, but Mr. Lawrence in his absence has asked or requested that Mrs. Seadu and Ms. Stewart help with that committee in his absence, in the absence of his presence. So Ms. Seadu and Ms. Stewart, if you'd like to comment, please.
I accept.
And Councilmember Seadu.
I'll support Ms. Jewett, co-president.
Okay. Next, it's the curriculum committee. Ms. Stewart, you have the floor for that.
Well, I think that we should try to schedule a committee meeting in the next 4 weeks, either right before the break or right after, to bring ourselves up to speed on the issues and concerns that we have about curriculum for our students. I'm asking Councilmember Constance Asiadu to please assist me with this. Craig is welcome to come aboard too. I mean, he's on his way, you know. Craig, spare us a little bit of your time when you can.
Okay.
I don't mind if you.
Thank you, Councilmember Jewett and Asidu. Next, we have the safety committee. Ms. Husbands, I know you gave us a short synopsis before, but can you repeat it for those of us that weren't there about the happenings in the safety committee? Ms. Husbands, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So on February 8th, the Safety Committee provided a workshop on fostering independence, in our children who are not ready or able to travel independently. It was presented by David Abrahams from the Travel Training Program. It was well received and well attended. On March 8th, like I said earlier, we were joined by Mr. Rampasad, who is the security director for the New York City public school system, as well as John Shea, who is the chief executive officer for the Division of School Facilities. It was a short, informative discussion about the new secure door system. Parents were able to voice their concerns. Both men stated going forward, they would take another look and try to accommodate the needs of the community that warrant review when implementing systems of this magnitude. We were also joined by Borough Manager Officer Christian Rangel from NYPD. He spoke about shelter-in-place protocols and future interventions such as re-implementation of the Safe Corridor program and other interventions. Again, I ask that everyone view our meeting along with all other meetings on our YouTube page for more specific details. Going forward, the Safety Committee, in collaboration with the Outreach Committee, continues to work diligently on cultivating the most appropriate sex education workshop for parents. We are working on facilitating more workshops that will continue to positively impact our community, raise awareness, and increase knowledge. Both meetings are available, as I said, on the YouTube page. I ask all members of the Safety Committee to please check and update the shared document, which lists upcoming workshops, topics, as well as leads. And for the public, please remember that you are more than welcome to join the committee. Please join us, contribute to the goal of serving the community in a manner that will live in perpetuity. If you have any questions, concerns, or recommendations, please let us know. Email us at ccd75safety@gmail.com. Thank you. I will put the email in the link, in the chat once again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Next, we have the Bylaws Committee. Councilmember Constance Acedio.
Good evening again. I just want to ask, are there 10 members present currently of the council? I'm asking. Co-President Green? I'm sorry, can you hear me?
My apologies, I was muted. So yes, I believe there are, sorry.
Okay, because with the vote on the last resolution, the vote was 9 yeses. I thought there were.
It was actually 10. I just miscounted. I apologize. But I do have 10 and I recorded 10. I just.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Montavon. I just wanted to check. Thank you. I do want to just say that there will be a forthcoming bylaws meeting. So I will be sending out the flyer as soon as I have it made. I am just picking a date to have one, but there will be one coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have transitions. So Ms. Montalban. Ms. Montalban and Ms. Jewett.
Yes, so we have an upcoming meeting actually next week. I'm gonna drop the flyer in the chat if I can, trying. And this meeting is going to have guest speaker Jacqueline Tripodi from NYSID to talk about family support services and transitions to adult programs. So we're very excited about that. And it's going to be next week, the 22nd. I can't get it in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm not Zoom savvy. I'm trying to drag it there. I'm like, oh, I think I got it. Okay. So that's going to be the 22nd at 1 p.m. on Zoom, and we hope to see everyone there.
Thank you, Councilmember Montalban. Next, we have the can I ask this, Miss Councilmember Angel? If
Yes.
you can do, apart from outreach, when you finish outreach, can you go ahead and also do annual reports so that we don't have to,
Yes.
so it's like, thank you.
I'll need to screen share, please.
Sure.
Chair Si, would you be able to help me, or Chair Green, help me with the settings to screen share?
Your
It's
co-host.
disabled. Thank you.
You're a co-host. She made you a co-host. You should be able to do.
I am now. I got you. Hold on one second. Okay, let me minimize this. Right, so we'll be going over the outreach report for March 15th, 2023. This is to update everyone on event progress. So recently, the outreach committee, inclusive of Councilmember Si Husbands and Montalvan, the council participated in the Include NYC virtual fair. 32 parents visited the booth expressing their interest in further information and different leads. And honestly, it was a great moment. It was a bit smaller. There were about 840 parents, so it was scaled down more so than it was last year. However, the parents that did touch base on our booth, it just felt like a very enlightening moment, and it just felt like a community moment, and it was really good to have the members there with us as we were supporting the community. We connected with a lot of vendors and parents, and we do have any issues that we requested any issues to be followed up with the council's email, and we were able to discuss the upcoming election and to help parents consider running in multiple ways. Also, we did share our YouTube channel, which also had links to resources beyond access training videos, transition, meditation, and stress relief tools. Additionally, the council did just complete its inaugural outreach legislative meet and greet breakfast on Friday, March 3rd. I want to make a huge thank you to co-president Si for the idea. Initially, when I did join the council, I like to pick a lot of people's heads and it's like, what did you do before? What can we, do moving forward? And co-president Si never hesitated on the options and ideas that she gave. And this was her baby. So I got to be the doula in helping to bring it forward with the help of the council so that we were able to bring that to fruition. And this is leading us to help set up the legislative committee that we do have Vice President Patricia Jewett chairing so that we can move forward with changing policies and laws for our children. I do want to say thank you for Councilmember Si and Husbands who did step in my absence at the actual event. And thank you for your help with the steering committee and logistics. Also, thank you, Vice President Jewett, for the calls that you did make to contribute to this as well. Again, our final numbers we will have shortly. We did have a little bit of confusion at registration. Some of the folders were missing, so we couldn't count down. And some people didn't sign, but the best thing is we had a lot of powerful speeches, a lot of city council members that did commit to Rita Joseph, Eric Denowitz, just a lot of members that vowed to hold our hands and help us make the changes that we need and be in stride with us as we move along the way. Additionally, we are looking to, I lost my space. So our next space that we are doing workshop-wise with outreach is a complex care workshop. We are very excited to bring this to our public. It will be on March 29th at 6:30 p.m. This will be presented by Ebony McFadder, MPA, Director of Care Coordination Services at St. Mary's Health System for Children. This will include information for medically fragile children, those in home instruction, regular schools, hospital schools, and those who want to learn about options via the Department of Health for our children with special needs. Now, when we say the Department of Health, that's a space that also has sympathetic resources as OPWDD. So we want to make sure that our people know about every single option that's available to our children. Again, as the safety chair, Councilmember Husband stated, we are still working alongside each other to bring the puberty and navigating puberty and sexuality series. It's been a lot of great work, and we are very motivated and excited to see what happens next. As far as what is going to be happening next with the committee, we're still looking to do the D75 University with Include New York. We're having discussions about what that would look like. We are working on the Parent Empowerment Conference this May with possible dates of May 6th, May 13th, or May 20th from 10 to 12 p.m. And we are looking for tailored end of the year school events. We know the district is now back and they're going to do their end of the year event. So we're looking to do our events more specifically with CECs and with our student councils so that we can build these different connections with our students and with our stakeholders who we are working hand in hand with. We will also be working on the awards dinner And we're looking to have these blueprints developed and distributed to the council prior to the April 19th business meeting so that we can vote on that. Also, we are looking to expand our outreach when it comes to our online presence. So we created a One Mic Spotlight campaign. This was in our newsletter, which will allow our communities members to sound off and use their voices on a multitude of issues that we can highlight online, on our website, and on social medias. Additionally, we will be following up with legislators to make sure that we keep our next steps up to par and ready and available to move into our next, basically. And so the recommendations that we are looking for is to continue to partner with CECs to strengthen the ties that bind our communities. Additionally, the website is still being updated in regard to pages that are redesigned, pages that are being added. So please let me know if you have any updates that you need for your respective communities. The next report will be the, Outreach March Insights for the website. As you guys know, we stated before that we are working on our listserv and we are looking to contact parents in any and every way that we can and make sure that we're doing that as diligently as possible. So for March so far, with the traffic over time for February 15th to March 15th, we can see that there has been an increase with our people that are coming to visit the website. We had 569 last month. This month we had 795, and they're staying a bit longer. So we do want to try to encourage, any ideas that you guys want to bring so that we can reach our parents as we move along to try to strengthen our outreach. Currently, we do have 705 Instagram followers, and I'm so pleased that our reels are reaching out to people to help them engage, in that we're actually reaching almost 600 additional people who are not followers. So we're trying to transition that number over. We do have 50 new Instagram followers, and we're working on the content interaction. So far, out of our 705, only 408 are actively interacting in the manner that we would like, but the reach is still out there and good. So Facebook, we have increased our reach to 2,501. We have increased our website reach to 2,340. Actually, 2,501 for Facebook. And the reach for Instagram is 849. As you see, these are percentages that are highly growing, 469%, 64.5%. With Facebook, we're getting more visits, 340. And we also are having more profile visits, or at least it's measuring out for Instagram. And the cool thing that we can see is that we have a lot of engagement from women. So I'm really happy that the district is working with the Father Support Group, because we do want to engage fathers. And it's good for us to be able to see analytically who are we reaching and, how we need to reach them. Additionally, when it comes to how people find us online, we do see that we have grown a bit, 359 hits. For Google, for direct just coming to our emails in this meeting, when they just click on our link, that's 174. Basically, these are the types of servers that people are using to reach our website. So with our engagements, we're having 834 likes and shares, which is up 42% in the past 90 days. And in the past 90 days, we have gone up 83% by reaching 1,000 people. Now, we know in the large scope of things, we have a lot more people to reach, but it is encouraging to be able to know that we are reaching people steadily. As far as the annual report committee, I did report during our budget meeting in the business meeting that the district will not have the numbers that we need available prior to our June 30th deadline for the report. So we would not be able to use the monies to move forward with the report. However, all of our councils and the different data that we do have will be worked into the first half of the annual report so that it can be available for the writer to pick up when the new council does come in. And I do believe that rounds up my report, but I can add in, as far as the Treasury update, I did notice there were a couple of errors in our budget. So we had to send that back so that it can reflect what we did vote on in our budget meeting. I'm sorry, give me one moment. For those who may not have been present, this is what we voted. Oops, here we go. This is what we voted on. We moved money To printing from the consultation line, we moved $400 from office supplies to parent involvement. $21 was moved from equipment to reimbursements, $250 from meeting expenses to member reimbursements, and $400 was additionally added to parent involvement, and $250 was added to member reimbursement. So overall, after moving the money to printing and adding a $400 speaker honoraria, we have increased our parent involvement to $3,350. And as it stands, our member reimbursement line is $18,015. Our total as is $22,465. Are there any questions for the presentations I gave? If not, I return the floor back to the chair. Thank you.
This, all right, Treasurer Angel, I don't see any hands up right now, but thank you. Thank you for the updates. Okay.
More than welcome.
Next, we have the Councilmember Spencer. If you can do the ad hoc election communications committee and the capacity and utilization, it would be greatly.
Thank you, Co-President Green. In reference to the ad hoc, former council member Lawrence was my co-chair, so I'm a little bit in an influx right now. As I did mention with Ms. Corsino's presentation, there are forums going on right now, and basically what I'm getting to is I'm Co-President Tsai, Co-President Green. I'm probably going to have to talk offline in terms of just refocusing and seeing what we can do for the rest of the year. There's certain outside factors right now, but ideally, with the forums ending on the 29th of this month, I do recognize that spring break is a religious time for most of our constituency. It may be what I foresee for the committee, for the ad hoc committee, is maybe have a second session in terms of meet the candidates, or have parents submit their questions during the voting period, from the 19th to the last couple of weeks of April. So I just need to work out the logistics, and I want to recognize Treasurer Angel and her empowerment, just in terms of reaching out to CECs, and I'll be including her in that conversation. But that's where we're at this point. It's hopefully by the 19th of April, I can solidify some dates, or I can speak to that. In reference to capacity, Pet Member Lee did mention that not only myself, but a lot of our council members have been on joint public hearings. Based on my schedule, I was happy to be on the public hearing and the community meeting for 265 for the new locations for 373 temporary 1-year location. And that was fine. It was basically 373 has to move into 265 for a year. And everything went well with that joint public hearing. They're going to vote on that a week from today. I want to uplift any other council members. I know Secretary Montavon was able to attend something for Staten Island, which I wasn't able to last week. I gather that I know there was something for Queens. I'm not sure if Councilmember Angel was able to go. I know there was something for the Bronx. I don't know if Councilmember Tsai, Co-President Tsai, was able to go. So I want to just leave the rest of my report in terms of any other council members that were able to attend any other joint public hearings. I know there's something going on for Taft High School. I need to get an update on that. I don't know, Co-President Green, if you're familiar with that. I know a joint public hearing I think happened last Monday. I wasn't able to attend due to my work schedule. So if there's any other council member want to use this time to speak to any joint public hearings or community meetings that they've attended since our last calendar meeting on the 8th of February.
I did attend, I did not attend the community meeting for 265, although I am SLT chair for that particular school. But I did attend the joint public hearing. And I also attended the joint public hearing for the school that was in Staten Island. So, among other hearings also, I'll be honest. But thank you, council member Spencer.
Yes, if there's any other thing, I'm just lastly, if there's no other, I'm just gonna end on the Sunset Park concern. Want to uplift Councilmember Husbands and all, particularly she's been in contact with Ms. Healy and Ms. Almish from CCSC, and I want to thank the rest of the council in terms of their concern, and that's something that as co-chair I'm going to keep my eye on, and if there's because we want to hear from the parents in terms of like I said, we can't stand for anybody that's not going to that's going to try to take our space without talking to us first, and it's my commitment, and hopefully with the help of my council member, my fellow council members, to stand for the community and make sure they have a voice. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Councilmember Spencer. All right, last but not least, I think the last committee we need to hear from is the Legislative Committee. And the chair is Ms. Jewett, Councilmember Jewett. You have the floor.
It's hard, sometimes it's hard to unmute. So, oh boy. I don't really have anything to add other than to continue to research subjects and listen to the constituents that call me and text me on their concerns.
All right, so when you have a date, I guess, for the next meeting, I'm sure we'll receive the notices, and they will definitely go up.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Jewett. And that was the last of the committee reports. So we're going to go to the co-president's report, and we'll start with Co-President Tsai. Co-President Tsai, you have the floor.
Co-President Green, you can go ahead. I'm taking care of kids right now.
Okay. All right. So I have been to a number of joint public hearings as well as community meetings. And for the most part, the ones that are projected to have D75 either co-located within their building or expand within the building have gone pretty well. I've seen concern in 17 and in 23 and other districts as well, but I have not seen pushback that we do get sometimes. And if I am on a platform, I always remind the district that we're in that D75 is programming. So we are actually programming within schools, and most of the children and students would be coming from that district that has demonstrated the need. So that's the reason that we're coming in, and that's the reason that we are being offered these spaces, because even if you put a D75 in a District 17, a District 18, a District 28, that doesn't necessarily cover every need that every D75 student has within that district. So we do need to work on having multiple programs that serve the constituencies in those districts and serve the needs of those constituencies. So I'm hoping that moving forward, that will happen. I think that is something that we as D75 parents and advocates have to stress, because I have been on meetings with the Office of District Planning prior, where them bringing in a D75, they assume that's it, and you know, it's taking care of all the kids in that community. But if you have a community that needs 800 D75 seats, it may not be all 800 that need a 611, or all 800 that need a 1211, or an 811, or whatever other configurations there are. So I think that's one of the things we need to keep in mind when co-locating and serving all students. So not limiting ourselves to one or another of the programs. Just making sure that all students can be served within the district that they live, if at all possible. Councilmember Jewett, go ahead. You have your hand up.
I can wait till you finish speaking. It's not a problem.
Okay. No, go ahead now, because what I have to say is something.
Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, that we really had a good time with the legislative breakfast, mingling with the elected officials, and that I also had a wonderful time with the UFT on the bus, me and Constance and Amy and Water and a few others on the parent bus when we went to Albany on Monday, which was generally lobby day, but we were there. Which anytime you get an opportunity to advocate for our students, our families, it's always a good thing. So I just, you know, off the top of my head, I forgot to mention that, and I just want to throw that out there. That I'm always willing to do something like that. Thank you for your patience and understanding.
Thank you, Councilmember Jewett. Thank you very much. Okay, I just wanted to mention two other things. One for which we'll actually talk about again in other important approvals. I would like to put forth a discussion about adding member reports to our meetings, at least to either a calendar or a business, or to both. Because as a citywide, we do need to have that happen. We do need to have member reports, because that's one of the things that citywides do as well. It doesn't have to be long. It can be 2 minutes or less. You know, hopefully most people can get it done in a minute or so, and just give them main highlights of whatever it is that has been done during that month. So I'm proposing that we discuss that when we get to further down in the agenda. We get to other important approvals. And last but not least, my comment on, because I do not like exercises in futility, but I wanted to bring to the table that, especially with the Sunset Park issues that were arising in the building council, there is a department that deals with building councils specifically, a DOE department. And one of the things that they task building councils with doing, the four most important things on their agenda should be campus-wide safety, campus-wide facilities, campus-wide accessibility, and campus-wide scheduling of shared spaces. It's usually one of the building principals that will be the lead, will take the lead, as well as the other building principals who will be also there. And in addition, they do require that the custodian engineer be there, the SSA level 3 and their supervisor be there, and the building manager, if there is one, be there, and that at least one of the principals, usually the lead building principal, provide a secretary for accurate keeping of the minutes. So there are several protocols and stuff that go along with that. And when building councils are not coming to, let's say, are not collaborating well, there is an office, like I said, that does deal with that, and I think it should have been sent forward. to that office before it went anywhere else and stuff. So just so that we're following protocol in the future and stuff, we can request if people are unfamiliar, because it's possible people don't know. If people are unfamiliar, we can request that along with giving them the information to help them find, because what this office does basically is mediate. They're usually requested by the superintendents anyway to mediate when something goes. So I'm hoping that moving forward, that can happen, and that there can be a faster resolution, if any, to these issues arising. Because I will say this, that D75 tends to be a community that shares, including our principals and our administrative staff in any of these buildings. We share a lot of times when there is a lack of related service people in any given school that we happen to be sharing with or co-located with. A lot of times our principals will also pick up some of the students from the schools that are not D75 and help with some of the children getting their services that are mandated. Again, mandated on the IEP is just that they're not a D75 child. So I think it benefits everybody to have D75 children in any given space. And again, we are part of the community. So we should be seen as part of the community. You should not have to bus children out just for them to get services. And really, I hope it changes. I'm going to turn it back over to Co-President Tsai for her report. Please go ahead, Co-President Tsai.
So the last President's Council, and just before I give the report on President's Council, President's Council was scheduled for tomorrow. It has been rescheduled for next Thursday, the 23rd. So hopefully those that want to participate and join in on the President's Council meeting, it has been posted on Remind. Ray Velez has shared that already. So just be aware tomorrow will not be President's Council, but it will be next Thursday. The last President's Council in the month of February, Miss Gloria Casino had gave some information in regards to the elections that is happening for the citywide as well as the District 75 local seats, 1 to 32, and what that process looks like through the application and the forums. The District 75 Bronx Forum was the first one. I believe it was February 27th, that Monday right after winter break. So there wasn't information, the flyer wasn't out immediately. So through that time, we were able to get all the flyers disseminated in the district to all of the D75 parents who are interested to join in on the forum. Either they're a candidate or they are the families that will be viewing it live or the recording for the April to May vote. So we made sure that the flyers were disseminated and make sure that all languages were a part of those disseminations. President's Council members also discussed their concerns either in their school as PAPTA presidents and or the designees, in which that's the membership of President's Council. And so me being in that space, sharing at President's Council as co-president of CCD75, just to relay our continuous collaboration with representing and advocating and being the voice for our community through the outreach work that Councilmember Angel has continuously do. The resources that we post on our bulletin and making sure that, you know, parents and community members are continuously follow along with us, as well as our ongoing committee workshops and meetings that our chairs and our co-chairs are hosting. And also just to encourage our D75 families to participate in this election 2023 in the process and, you know, really view our next team of council members for the next term I also participated in several of the joint public hearings that was conducted, as well as the community meetings that were happening. There was, a few of the SLTs, and they were also in person as well. So it is obviously very challenging for us citywide to get to each and every borough, but we have done a really great job, and I want to give applause to members of this council who really pitched in to represent, speak, and really stand up for the needs of District 75 students and families. Really want to just elaborate, this is definitely a lot of work compared to our daily lives as parents on a volunteer basis. Also, just wanted to echo what Councilmember Jewett had said in regards to the legislative breakfast. I just want to say kudos to all the council members that participated, and also was especially with us, Councilmember Spencer, Councilmember Jones, and Councilmember Morales. We definitely wanted to make sure that not just our community was heard by the public, but also our elected officials who are voted in by us as New Yorkers. So that was an amazing partnership to really vocalize the three focuses that we made that day, which is bus and transportation, related services, and services on overall, and transition, when we all know is very important, and it's very specific for our students in special education. And then lastly, Monday, I had the opportunity to be on the parent bus with Councilmember Sudu, Councilmember Jewett, and a few other former and current CC members or parent leaders to lobby at Albany to really vocal our New York City concerns as public school parents and advocates to our legislators as well. And if you all know, Senator John Liu and Assembly Member Michael Benedetto, it has been a great supporter for some of the bills that are in action to our resolutions this evening, which is the charter co-location and the budget. Involve, they represent on state level, but we definitely have support from our education committee chair, Rita Joseph from City Council, who also participated in a legislative breakfast to speak on how important special education and special needs in District 75 is. I also want to just touch lastly, this is a continuous conversation for the members of District 75 Council for many years, and will continue to do so, hopefully in our future team members. The facilities and our capital plan projects, the capital plan projects amendment has been shared out. If you have not received it, I will re-forward to you. We did have a lot of requests for ADA compliance and accessibility. And so facilities will take on some of those with the budget that City Council has committed previous year to do some of those accessibility. So they will take on some of those requests made by our D75 principals. Really want to ensure that we will get to 2025 or 2026, hopefully soon, that we will have many of our District 75 co-locations be partially and fully accessible from not being accessible at all. How important it is that it's not just for the kids who are mobility handicapped, but as well as, just students who have mobility challenges should be part of easy access to a building around their classrooms and to get into their campuses for shared space. So that is continuing on. And I just want to say, let's keep the community abreast of, this bridge of communication, and that is all. So I will pass it on to our next item, which is if there's any other approvals for this evening. If not, if there's any, we will go to public.
Yeah, before we go to public, I definitely want a discussion on adding, I'm sorry, let me let Miss Councilmember Husbands go because she raised her hand first. So, and I will go after that. Councilmember Husbands, you have the floor.
Thank you. I just wanted to, two things, quick things regarding the office, the notification to the office that you spoke about earlier, that actually did occur and they did follow up. And with regarding Sunset Park, I want to absolutely acknowledge Chair Angel for the work that she put in for the legislative breakfast, outreach breakfast. I believe it was a success. I believe it was a day in a life, and we got to see part of what it is to be a D75 parent. And I want to acknowledge her strength as an organizer, as a mom, and the superintendent spoke about it feeling like a family reunion, and I felt like a sense of family in terms of the support that she got from a numerous amount of people from the district, including Christina Fody, Sasha English, Miss Tamika Nurse came from FACE, Jose Gonzalez was there supporting us and supporting her, other parents, I'm trying to remember, Miss Sachs, Miss Healy, Miss Hernandez, Rima Izquierdo. There was just a sense of community that was palpable. And it really gave me a sense of encouragement, because sometimes this is very, very difficult to do. But I really felt the love in the community at that point. And I just want to acknowledge those people, and I want to acknowledge her as well. And also acknowledge her ability. She organized this and she had to step away, and it still flowed. And that to me is a sign of a great organizer and someone and a great leader. And I appreciated that. And she was very worried about it. And I told her, don't worry about it. You put everything in place and it came off, and it came off. And when I say it came off beautifully. And I think it was impactful for many people in many different ways. And I just want to acknowledge her and acknowledge those people that were able and willing and wanted to support her and support us that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Husbands. Councilmember Angel, you have your hand up. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you so much, Councilmember Husbands. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say a little bit more as well. I do want to say thank you to Sacha English. She really did help logistically in regard to making sure our D75 culinary students catered, and they were amazing. And we're really trying to let more people know about the program so that we can get it in more schools. And our liaison from FACE, Jose Gonzalez, Mr. Cameraman everywhere, man, thank you. You really came in clutch in a lot of places. And additionally, thank you, Mr. Chef Patrick, who also helped getting the travel trained children and the students to where we were. But as you do know, and as the council members stated, my son did have a moment at the legislative meet and greet, and it really, I haven't been supported like that in a very, very long time. So as a parent, it was a beautiful community for me, as well as the advocate, still advocating for other people. So I'm greatly appreciative, as she said, of, Paulette Healy, of Rima, of Gwen Sachs, of Tamika Nurse, of my council members. It's just a lot of people that I can't name who really came out there and just personally made sure that we were okay. So I'm very appreciative of my village as an advocator, as an elected official, and as a parent. So I do want to say thank you all tremendously again. And we will have the full video up on the website shortly. There are snippets on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you guys again.
Thank you, Councilmember Angel. All right, so Are there any other, oh, Councilmember Angel, I'm sorry, while we have you. Did you want to add anything to your treasurer's report, or did you, the one that was earlier was the treasurer's report?
The one that was earlier was the treasurer's report. I am speaking with finance in the morning to make sure that our vote will be put into place as is to correct any errors. And then we should be set to go hopefully before noon tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you very much, Councilmember. Okay, so moving on to next.
Before we go to next, can we just check with the interpretation room and see if they have any participants? If not, we can read
Early. Spanish interpretation room, is there anyone on the line?
¿Hay alguien en la línea?
Okay,
I've asked and there's no one there.
okay. Can I ask the same? Mandarin interpretation line, is there anyone using the line?
No, no questions from the Mandarin line.
Okay, Co-President Tsai, do you want to release the interpreters at this time? It's actually, what time, 9:26?
Sure. Interpreters, you are relieved for this evening, and thank you for your service for supporting the council.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
We'll look
night.
forward to seeing you at the next meeting. Thank you.
Will do, will do. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so, does any one of the council members have any other approvals or comments or anything they would like to put up now for a vote? Okay, so I'd like to have a discussion about adding council member reports because we are citywide. And that's one of the things that most of the citywides do have. It doesn't have to be long stuff. It can just be whatever we decide, whether it be 2 minutes per council member. But it is a way to keep the public informed, even when it's not necessarily a committee thing. It's a way to keep the public informed on the things that we do. So is there any discussion? Anyone have a comment, question? Go ahead, Miss Angel.
A quick question. This is similar to what we were doing before we found out that we were in the state, the IPRs that we were giving to the AA, yes or no?
No, no, the IPRs, yes, do reflect that, but because we're citywide, there's none of the citywides are responsible for IPRs. So I'm trying to get rid of the confusion between CECs and citywides. Because we are not a CEC, we do not do IPRs, we don't have to. But
Okay,
it would
so
take the place of that because you could say whatever it is as opposed to writing it.
Okay. Well, my consideration is I'm more of a paper person, so I like to present my stuff and everything that I'm doing. So technically what I am currently doing is being presented under my committees. I don't know that I would love to be able to find a way for us all to say what we're doing without extending our meetings further. If there's something where we can have an update corner online where we can put all these things in addition to this so that we can at least, make sure we use our time accordingly, more so to give the parents resources versus, of course they need to know what we're doing, but we want to make sure that we're more heavier on the resource side, at least in my personal opinion.
Okay, noted. Councilmember Angel, does anyone else have an opinion?
I just wanted to add that we do, as citywide, do need to do the annual report in which Councilmember Angel has volunteered her time to do that committee. And so I want to encourage that also according to our bylaws for our committee chairs and co-chairs, that they submit their reports to the annual report committee so that we can really put together this current school year's annual report. But any additions of members who have contributed to the community is important. So I just want to add that since we are under the responsibilities of the roles here on District 75 Council. So hopefully with what Council Co-President Green is echoing and I'm echoing, we get reports from members.
Okay.
See, Council
Thank
Member
you.
Spencer.
Councilmember Spencer, you have the floor.
Thank you, Co-President Green. So in reference to reports, is this something that, is this a mandate? Is it need to go in the bylaws? How did you, or how are we governing this? How are we going to lead this for the next council to govern?
If I may jump in.
Mhm.
This is what it is a part of what we do. It's the end of the year for us and annual for what we're reflecting on with the district. So as we did last year, all of the councils, all of the committees, hopefully all of them, I'll try to stay on top of you guys. Don't get too mad at me if I call too much, but I have a template as last year that I will send out again. If anyone needs help, I will help you, but we do need to turn in what we have accomplished. As you know, Co-President Green is talking about letting the people know what we do. In addition to that, you can also do this at your end of the year. What have you accomplished for this entire year? Your initiatives, your things that you've implemented, what have you worked on? What are your recommendations, et cetera? So that is something that has always been going on with this particular council. In addition to now we are finally full circle with doing the annual report in reflection to the district. But if anyone needs any help, trust me, if it's hard, we're doing it wrong, I can help you out to make sure that you know it's easy breezy in the spaces that you need assistance. Is that helpful?
Yeah, that's yeah, but for those that are not committee chairs or what have you, I just want to know what's the difference between a committee report and then or a member report.
I'll say this, if any member wants to include something to go into the annual report, I'm not going to say no to that. If you are active in any committees and you do want to chime in, absolutely do so. We want to make this as connective as a document as possible. So we don't want to say no to people that want to contribute.
Before we, I'm sorry, Mr. Spencer, for one moment. I think we're talking about two different things because yes, all these things can go into the annual report and should. However, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about specifically for our meetings and stuff because we are citywide, just adding member reports because it doesn't always have to be. I mean, committee reports are good too, but maybe we can do committee reports on the business meeting and the member reports on the calendar meeting or vice versa. But we should be doing reports. And like I said, they don't have to be longer than 2 minutes or anything like that. But at least each member will get to speak and then talk basically what things they do in their capacity as a D75 advocate or as a special education advocate or whatever it is that a particular member does. But go ahead, Mr. Spencer. Can I let Ms. Husbands talk? Because she's had her hand up for a while as well. First, and then come back to Mr. Spencer. Is that okay?
Yeah, maybe she says something that yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, Councilmember Husbands, you have the floor. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I was going to try to, I think, say what you were saying, that I think they were talking about two different things. And also, just in terms of the consideration of time, so we don't extend the meetings in terms of making them longer than they already are. If they could be in writing and then just read ahead of time and everyone has access to the shared drive on the site, or they could send it to someone who can upload it, and then that it will be available for the public. If having the public in on what we are doing is the motivation behind it, that may be a way in terms of saving time in terms of a meeting, because to have committee meetings and then individual meetings for 11 members or 10 members may be a little drawn out at times. So I'm just considering the time restraints that we all have as parents and working individuals.
duly noted, but again, it is something that we should do. And yes, we can do that. We can put it in writing and add it to something, but we are supposed to be reaching the public in any way that people comprehend, understand, and we as a district know that everybody is, even if you are not D75, you're very much gen ed, have never been D75, have never been special ed, everybody has different ways of learning. So yes, we might put it up on, and can, of course, add it to the website and things like that for people to be able to see. And that works for a lot of people, but there are other people it may not work for. So just as a matter of stating what people do is what I'm interested in, because it is something. You go to CCH, I don't know if they're doing it right now because I'm not there. Our meetings are usually the same day, but they do member reports. CCSE used to do member reports. Like every citywide that I know does. We only have 4 anyway. They do member reports. They also do an annual report, which is a separate thing and stuff. It's their recommendations and suggestions about how well or the lack of services in overall in that district and in DOE. That's more of a comment on that and some of the other things that we have done. So Miss Angel was kind enough to include all like committee updates and all that kind of stuff inside of the annual report. You know, and she did take the time to incorporate all these things into it. And I still think they should remain in it, but I'm just saying in addition to, just for our meetings purposes specifically, if we can add that. So Mr. Spencer, Miss Angel, and then anyone else that.
Thank you, Co-President Green. My comment is, I think this needs to be presented in the bylaws committee. I think we need to set a standard and leave that standard what we're asking for. So I would like it fleshed out in the bylaws committee and then brought it here for a vote. That's my feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Miss Angel, and then Miss Husbands, because Miss Angel, go ahead.
I just want to say, like, I know I want us to make sure that we're doers more than talkers. And we talk a lot. For instance, we're 3 hours into a meeting that's not joint. So I just want us to be cognizant of having productive meetings as well as sharing the information that the constituents need and what we're doing. Because currently we're not in a good space of time management. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'll jump in. I would suggest that we can add it to any member who chooses to want to add to the monthly reports. Addition to the committees can feel free to. I know that our time is very precious and we are also parents as well, so, or grandparents as well. And so I think it's good practice, but it shouldn't be considered as an enforcement of having member reports if you don't have anything to share, or your life was getting a little busy and you couldn't really give any more other reports other than whatever you have. And that includes also, like, we do have an item agenda on the agenda for our calendar meetings is announcements, and any council members who freely want to give an announcement or share out can do so as well. So just wanted to state that. Also want to be respectful for everyone's time here, not just for council members, but for also our public. So I do think that we are coming almost 10 o'clock and we've been on this meeting more than 3 hours. So to respect the public's participation, hope that we can have more conversation in the next business meeting and our working meeting, which is technically where we need to have a robust conversation about this, that we can move to the public comment, respectfully that they joined us for so long. So if there's no other discussion and we can postpone this to the business meeting, I think if we have any public that would like to make comments, we can do that at this time. Co-President Green, is that okay with you?
Yeah, I thought you were tossing
Oh,
it to the public.
sure.
Does do any members of the public have any comment or questions that they have? Please raise your hand if you can, which you should be able to. Or if you cannot, because there are sometimes when the functions don't work in Zoom, if you unmute, we will see your mic. Okay, there does not appear to be any public comment. All right, so we can move on.
I just wanted to add that we also have our newsletter that Councilmember Angel has shared. And so, you know, any members of the public would like to share their events or their meetings and workshops, you know, we are open to share that out as well, being community. So since right now I'm assuming everyone is getting their kids to bed or getting ready for bed for themselves. So we don't have any public joining us for a comment. So if there's any council members that like to share an announcement, we can proceed with the announcements. I think that we have our DLT for next month as well, which is usually the first Thursday of the month at 12 p.m. That's the only announcement I have right now. Any council member Spencer, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just want to reiterate the dates for the forums coming up, because I know it was mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, so I just want to put it out there again. So tomorrow is the one for Brooklyn South at 6 p.m. So all these meetings via Learning Times via Zoom. I'll put it in the link in the chat if it wasn't put in there earlier. So Brooklyn North is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Then Queens is next Thursday, the 23rd. Actually, before that, this council forum for this council is the 22nd. So you have Brooklyn North tomorrow, this council's forum on the 22nd, Queens on the 23rd, and Manhattan on the 27th, and Staten Island on the 29th. So I will put this link in the chat, and hopefully those folks could sign up and attend and see what the future holds for all our parent leaders. That's about it from my end. Thank you all for all that you guys do.
Thank you, Councilmember Spencer. Does any other council member have an announcement they want to make?
I don't have an announcement, but I recognized in my report that I put up dates for our parent empowerment. And I was wondering if I could go ahead and make a motion for those dates, or at least reiterate it so that I can then put it on the floor.
Definitely go ahead and reiterate. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so under the anticipated action, we're in the process of the Parent Empowerment Conference, and the possible dates are May 6th, May 13th, and May 20th. I'm really leaning more toward May 13th. And I would like to propose that to the council. I am open to having it on May 13th or May 20th, depending on availability of speakers, if we want to aim for that. So I would move to have the Empowerment Conference on May 13th with an addendum date of May 20th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Okay, so is that your motion?
Yes.
Okay, so it has been motioned by Councilmember Angel. Can we get a second?
No. Second.
Okay, it's been seconded by Councilmember Sy, I believe that was. And Councilmember Maltamon, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Okay, we're voting to have the Citywide Council for District 75 Empowerment Conference on either May 13th as the first choice or May 20th as the second choice. Ms. Christy Angel,
Yes.
Ms. Constance Acevedo,
There are 3 dates up. Sorry, I cannot raise my hand. There are 3 dates up. Is there something not good about the 6th before I vote?
No, there's not. If we want to just go for, my aim is for the 13th, 20th, and the 6th might be pushing it a little bit time-wise for people to get prepared for it. So that's why I'm leaning more toward the later dates, but
Okay. Understood, Councilmember Angel. Thank you. Okay. Yes.
okay, Ms. Celia Green,
Yes.
Ms. Aisha Husbands, Ms. Husbands,
She left for the evening.
okay. Ms. Patricia Jewett,
Yes.
Ms. Joanne Jones,
Yes.
Ms. Christy Montavon, yes. Mr. Angel Morales, Mr. Morales, did he leave too? Is he here?
I think Angel left as well.
Okay. Mr. Craig Spencer
Yes.
and Miss Amy Ming Tsai.
Yes.
Okay, we have 8 votes for yes. The motion is passed.
Thank you, Councilmember Montalvan. All right, if there are no further announcements. If there are no further announcements, and no further comments or questions, I'm gonna ask.
Let me jump
for
in
someone-
before you call for adjournment. Just wanted to remind council members and the public here that Co-President Green and myself are the founders of the Special Education Advisory Council that has started up in the advisory of the 4 pillars of reimagining special education. So if you can share your focus sub-council, Celia, I don't remember, I think it's sustainability, but I am on the integration and interdependence sub-council. And so we are considering to kind of restructure District 75 with its leadership and professional development, as well as all of the other programs that are under District 75 Superintendent Lusant. And we have a few members of our District 75 team, which includes Superintendent Lusant and Deputy Kleinberg and some of other DOE individuals in our group. So there's going to be an email sent out from me to see what dates the council will have availability that we can debrief on what that looks like. But I don't know if Co-President Green has anything to share on her sub-council that she's on the advisory council.
Thank you, Co-President. I'm on scale and sustain, which is about discussions on scaling upwards, anything that works in the DOE, any programs, any specific programs that work. So ASD Nest is one of those programs. Horizon is another program. Ames is another program. And there are also some other programs that we're going to start discussing. But for now, we've only met twice for scale and sustain. And that's the movement that we're going on. We're trying to take the components of the programs that work best and that have the best student outcomes and see if we can scale and sustain them into each district. Because you may have Nest, but you may have Nest in maybe 2 districts in the Bronx as opposed to the 6 districts in the Bronx. You may have Nest in maybe, I can't remember if it's 3 districts in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn has 12 districts. So there is a need for these programs to be scaled up. There's a limited amount of seats right now for Nest and for Horizon and for ACES and for AIMS and for all these different programs. But those lucky few that get in usually do quite well. The student outcomes are good. They're markedly better than a lot of the other outcomes. So we're looking, like I said, at various programs. Those are just 4 that we were beginning with. And we're looking how we can bring them to each and every district as opposed to having to do the same thing we were doing with 75, where you get bused 5 districts away, 6 districts away, just to have the services. So we're looking at what that looks like and how that is going to be possible and how it's going to be sustainable. Because once you get it there, how do you get the personnel? How do you get everything in place? So that's it for now. We'll be meeting shortly again, but for the first 2 meetings that we have, that's what we.
Thank you, Co-President Green. If we don't have anything, we will need to have a council member motion to adjourn. I think we're all tired.
You looking for a motion to adjourn? Motion to
Yes.
adjourn.
You want a motion to adjourn?
I said motion to adjourn.
Can we get a second?
Okay, and we need a second. Who can second that motion?
Oh, boy.
Second.
Too bad I can't. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember
Everybody
Angel.
get some rest, everybody. Get some rest.
Well, before you get some rest, does anyone object or abstain from the motion? Hearing none and seeing none, we are officially adjourned at 9:52 p.m. Thank you, council members. Thank you, audience. We will look forward to seeing you in April. Thank you.
Have a safe holiday,
night.
everybody.